Good afternoon, everyone.
So we can hear you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I welcome you to our virtual class.
Good afternoon.
Being offered by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar University. I'm your academic counselor, SM Fasiullah, from the Department of English. We are dealing with course 7, that is aspects of language and their relation to literature. This is our last class in the virtual mode, and also the last class scheduled this academic year. As promised in the last class, I'll be in the previous class. I'll be discussing the question paper, the model of the question paper, and how best we can attempt it in order to score better and be relevant in the answer script. And if time permits, we'll take up your doubts as well towards the end of the class. So we are, as we know, that ours is a master's program where we have each paper of 100 marks. Out of that 100 marks, 30 marks is earmarked for your internal assessment, which is nothing but on assignments that you write for each paper in each program. And remaining 70 marks are actually to test you in an external examination, right? And that external examination starts usually towards the end of the year. And as we are expecting the examinations in the coming months, and that is why we have had so far counseling classes, as many as 16 counseling classes to help you with preparation and understanding of a variety of topics and subjects in your course. Now, this examination, few things as a teacher, when I evaluate question papers, I realize a few mistakes the students do in their examination, and those are the things I think I should discuss with you, so that you will become aware of it and you find some strategy to avoid those mistakes. I hope you would be happy to hear those things from me.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. The first thing is that this examination is of 3 hours. Is the first fact that you need to understand, which means anything and everything that you have in mind or you have been asked in the question paper, that you have to attempt within 3 hours, right? Which is 180 minutes. Okay. And this question paper is of 70 marks. And the question paper that you are attempting is actually course 7, which is titled as aspects of language, their relation to literature. These are the 3 basic things that you have to remember or pay attention to even before you start reading the questions. Even though you know it, you just refresh. Take the question paper. The first thing that you have to read is look at the question paper title. Why I'm telling you is because at times what happens, there could be a misprint of the question paper, or you may prepare for some question, some paper, and when you come, you realize that some other question, exam is there. So in order to avoid all those issues, you first have to look at the code of the paper or the title of the paper to ascertain, to ensure that you are sitting for the right examination. Second, how much time do you have to attempt answers? The total time that you have is, in this case, particularly, you have 180 minutes. That is 3 hours. And the maximum marks that you would be getting, or you would be able to score in this paper is 70. And also, what is the minimum? 28. Just keep it in mind. You're not going to score minimum. You are going to score the best possible that you can, based on the hard work that you have done, based on the topics that you have understood, and also based on the difficulty of the question paper itself. Okay. And now coming to this question paper, usually question papers are structured in a way where you have 2 or more section in it. Okay. So in case of your paper, you have okay, so you have 1 and 2 sections only. Okay. So section A and section B, there are only 2 sections in your question paper. Now, section A, yeah. So section A has how many questions? Overall, 10 questions. Or let me just check.
8 questions.
Yeah, 8 questions.
Yes.
So section A has total of 8 questions. Out of that 8, how many you are supposed to answer?
4 we have to answer.
You have to answer only?
Any 4.
So, any 4. Okay. So which means out of 8, you can answer any 4 which you are comfortable with. Okay. And you are not required to write more than 4 answers in this section. Remember this. This is the typical mistake that the students do. That they write more number of answers than what is required of them. Does it add any value? No. Does it give any extra marks? No.
No.
You have to write what is asked of you. What would happen if you write 5 instead of 4? Number 1, waste of time.
Yes.
Why waste of time? Because you have been given 180 minutes to complete the entire process of examination, including reading the paper, understanding the questions, writing the answers, and handing over the scripts. Everything has to be completed within 180 minutes. There will be, say, 5 minutes delay in receiving your paper in your hand. 5 minutes you have already lost by the time the question paper is in your hand. Now, it would take at least 5 minutes to go through the paper. And I highly recommend as a second thing. First thing, you have looked at the title of the paper, marks, number of words, and all those things. As a second thing, what you have to do is you have to look at sections and pay attention to number of maximum questions that you have to answer, and then read the questions. Don't directly start writing the answers. Read the questions. Read all the questions. Say, for example, in this particular paper, right, there are 8 that I am supposed to answer. What I would do if I am, what do we say? If I am there instead of you writing the examination, what I would do as a student, right? I will go through these questions. Write a critical note on arguments put forward by Derrida. Okay. Derrida. Okay. And title of the work. Okay. What are the primary features of literary language? Okay. Discuss discourse as discourse, organization structure. Okay. Essay on emergence of literary theory. Okay. Difference between criticism and theory. Okay. Write a note on denotation, connotation, literary language. Okay. Write a note on Michel Foucault's position. Okay. Structuralism, post-structuralism. Okay. What are the chief objections of Plato? Okay. Does literature have a function? Okay. Now, if I am a student, okay, then what I usually do when I was a student is, after reading all the questions that are available, I usually, put a dot in the questions I'm going to attempt. For example, this is my, I do it, based on the difficulty level, which means, I'll choose those which are most easy to me. Got it?
Yeah.
The topic which I am very much comfortable with, the topic on which if I start writing, my pen won't stop. It will go smooth because I know it so well. So keeping that in mind, what I would do is, I'll start, putting a dot just to, help myself come back and start writing these answers. And so in the next time, I will not read the remaining, the all questions. I will not go for a second reading of the questions. By reading it for the first time, I am identifying the questions which I can write easily without any problem. Okay. So did I get 4 questions?
Yeah.
Can you also write all for these 4 answers?
Yes.
Right? Without being bothered about Derrida, difficulty of Derrida and Foucault and philosophy and all those things. Easiest things we can attempt, right? And that is what you should do. Read the questions, identify the easiest ones, and mark only 4 which you would be doing. Don't write even one extra or one less. For example, in say, for example, out of these 8, sometimes, the question paper is a bit difficult. Still, you would find at least 3 or 2 answers which you can do it easily, right? So what you do is, you identify those 2 as first things and move to the next section. So in this case, we are fortunate the question paper is not that difficult and we are able to attempt 4 questions out of the 8 given. So I have marked these 8 and I'll move to next section. I'm just reading the question paper. You also do the same thing. Now, if we go to next section, we have how many questions in this? Again, this also has 8 questions. Just like the previous section, this section also has, or not 8, it's more actually, right? Ten questions basically. Okay, so section B has 10 questions. Out of 10, how many we are supposed to answer?
5.
Only 5. Okay. Now we'll see. What is a rhetoric? Okay, rhetoric. What is linguistics? Linguists know Linguistics provide analytical tools for the idea of death of the author. Death of the author. Okay. Reflection, what is meant by communicative competence and speaking model. Okay. Define the novel as a literary form and give brief account of types and concerns of the novel, types of novel, etc. Okay. What is the contribution of post-structuralism? Okay. Write a short note on structure of the short story. Okay. Define dialectic. Okay. Comment briefly on the language as a social identity. Okay. What else we have in the store? Then you have art of showing and doing, and what is the sign for social. Okay. Now, if you look at these, okay, we have to attempt 5. This one I can do, yes, easily. I mean, what is rhetoric? Okay. Depth of the author. If you have read important questions that I have given you, you will have this marked as an important one. You can do that as well. Okay. And this is easy one. You can also attempt this regarding novel and types of novel. Very easy question. Okay. Now, about the structure of a short story, that also you can attempt. Language, social identity, you can also attempt. And there is one more you can easily attempt, which is, I think, the last one. Sign for social. That is also 18th one. This is something that is being repeated time and again. Social notion of language or structure sign, and it is sign and other things. Okay. So you have comfortably at least 6 answers which you can easily attempt. Out of that, we just have to do only 5. Okay. If you find the 6th one, any of the 6th one difficult, you just leave it and do the remaining 5. Okay. So now you are comfortable. You identified number of questions that you can answer, right? Now start writing. Once you are comfortable and once you have identified the question that you are going to attempt, you start writing. Now you have idea how many questions are there and which questions you can comfortably answer. Even if it is half what is required, still you go with the process of identifying the easy questions first. In section A, out of 4 answers that you have to attempt, if there are only 2 answers which you are comfortable with or which you can answer, you just identify those 2. And then go to section B. And out of 5, if you find only 5 questions which you can answer, only 3 questions which you can comfortably answer, just identify those 5 as the first thing. Okay. Now, how many questions you are ready with? 5. Right? Out of how many? 8. You are supposed to attempt 8 questions. 9 questions. 4 in first section and 5 in next section. So total 9 questions. Out of 9, you have 2 questions from section A and 3 questions from section B. So these are the only 5. I'm giving an scenario. So out of 9, you are comfortable to write 5 questions immediately. Okay. So what you do is, don't bother about what you do not know or what you cannot. Just start writing those 5 things. Try to finish those 5 questions as a first thing. Okay. And another important mistake people do is, people forget to write the question number. For every question that you are writing, you please give the question number. Even if you do not write the entire question and you are able to write the actual number of the question, then that would be good enough. For example, if I am writing, I'm attempting the answer to this question, primary features of literary language. Okay. So what I would do is, even if I do not write this question, what are the primary features of literary language? Explain. I need not have to write this question in the answer. sheet. I just have to write the question number, that is 2. So what I'll do is I'll write 2 and I'll start answer. I'll start writing in the question paper. You don't waste your time by writing a question in the answer sheet. You need not have to write the question. You just write the correct question answer. And once you are done with 2 questions that you know in section 1, right? You go to section 2, right? You go to section 2 and attempt the remaining 3 questions that you have identified as easy. Somebody's mic is... Yes. So you're done with first 2, and then you have come to section B and you have attempted the remaining 3 questions. Then total 5 questions are done. After that, what you do is take a pause, right? And go back to your section again. In this section, you attempted 2 and there are remaining 2 more that you have to do. Now you read the questions again. Okay. What you have attempted is over. Out of the remaining questions, you read those questions. See which one you can make an attempt. What I'm trying to tell you is, in most cases, people fail because they do not attempt the number of questions they are supposed to attempt. If they know 2 in this section, they just write 2 and it's over. No, don't do that. For example, you know that something about Foucault, something about structuralism, post-structuralism. You just attempt this question. This is a strategy I'm telling you. Because you have already attempted the questions that you can answer comfortably. That phase is over. We have come back again to this section. We are reading the questions once again. And in this, because you have gone through the book, even if you do not remember everything exactly, yet you would be knowing something about that subject, about that author, about that novel or poem or something. So what you do is, you just write whatever you know about these, author or philosopher and their ideas. Instead of not attempting anything, it is better to attempt and write something about it. To do what? To complete the quota of 4 questions. And if you're comfortably able to answer all the 4, fine. Even if you are not comfortable, you have to attempt the 4. Hope you are following me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
this applies to all question papers, not just my question paper, to any question paper. You complete the minimum quota. That is 4 questions in section A. Out of that, 4 questions, 3 questions you may know very well, so you write a lot about that. You can write a lot about that. But the 4th one that you do not know, you still have to write. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So same thing you do in case of section 2. In section 2 also, you try to complete the quota of 5. Remember, you are not supposed to write more than what is required. So pay attention to what is required and do not miss on completing the minimum quota or maximum also. The 5 is not just minimum, but also maximum. You are supposed to write minimum 5 answers and maximum 5 answers only. Even if you know all the, you are in a position where you have studied so much so that you are able to answer all the 10 questions? No, but you are not supposed to attempt to know all the 10 questions. You just have to attempt only 5. So this 5 is minimum as well as maximums. What we would do is, in the first identification process, we were able to identify 3 questions to which we can write answers comfortable. But in the second attempt, when we are reading again, we have to find out 2 more questions which are least difficult compared to others. And then write something about that and complete the quota of 5. In some cases, what we have realized, as examiners, is that people who know some topics very good, very well. Okay. For example, some students were able to write excellent answers to very impressive answer to what rhetoric is and all those things. But that is the only answer that they have correctly answered. And they have not even bothered to attempt other questions. Instead, what they did, they attempted to know 6 answers in section A, which is not required. Even if they have attempted to know 5th and 6th question in section A, we cannot give any marks to that. We can only evaluate the 4 questions in section A. If you have written 5th and 6th, it is waste of time, waste of energy, and the examiner do not even evaluate that. Because that is what we have not asked you to do, right? We have asked only to ask you to write only 4. So you are supposed to write only 4, not more than that. Yes, so is the case with section B. So whatever number of questions you are asked to write, you just write those. You don't write more, and make sure you are not losing on completing the quota of 5 answers in section B and 4 answers in section A. Okay. And now there is some difference when it comes to section A and section B. The difference is in section B, you are supposed to attempt your answer in 250 words. Okay. Whereas in section A, it is 500 words. Now, the answer, script that is given to you, if we look at that, which means, you are writing at least 1 page for each question from section B. Right. 250 words means equivalent to 1 or 1.5 page of your answer script. So for answers to the questions in section B, you have to write how many? 1 or 1.5 page. You don't try to know unnecessary things. Try to write only relevant things. In case of section A, it is 2 to 3 pages. It is 2 to 3 pages. I hope you understood this, okay? For section A question, section B questions, which is of 6 marks, you are writing 1.5 to 1 to 1.5 page, right? Now, this question paper that I am showing to you is in 2 pages, right? So similarly, for section A, you are supposed to write answer in 2 to 3 pages. Whereas for questions in section B, you are writing 1 to 1.5 page. I'm sure most of you follow these things, but I thought it important to take you through these things once again from examination point of view. Okay. So yes, so if I ask you what are the important things that you have to pay attention to before you write the examination, so what would you say, or what we have discussed? Can you summarize those things? Any volunteer?
So what is being asked, like from section A, they have to attempt any 4.
Yes.
And this 4, each answer should be of 500 words, which requires 2 to 3 pages.
Yes.
And not to write any extra questions.
Yes.
Whichever we are comfortable with or we are good at, we are supposed to write. First, we have to go through the question paper, which is very, very important, and pick what we are comfortable with.
Yes.
That is section A.
Yes.
Then coming to section B, sir, that is, we are supposed to write 5 questions from 10. So 50% choice is given in both the sections.
Yes.
And this requires 1 to 1.5 pages, that is 250 words. So that requires some 6 to 7 pages to write all the 5. And in case if we are not comfortable with all the 4 in section A, just what we are good at, let us start with that, then come to section B, then again go back to section A, not to leave any question, try our best to recollect what we have learned and start writing again the left out question.
Yes. So one important thing that we missed is, whenever we are attempting any question, please give the appropriate question number to it. Okay, that is the most important thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And now, for example, we have 4 plus 5, right? Total 9 questions. So to attempt these 9 questions, okay, out of 180 minutes, say 10 minutes is gone for say reading the question paper and getting it in the hands and all. So how much time do you have left? 170, right? So out of 170, 10 minutes I am keeping it for last minute reading, just to check whether I have entered question numbers correctly, whether I have attempted a number of questions that I am supposed to attempt in each section. To just cross check all those things, I am dedicating 10 minutes. 10 minutes initially, 10 minutes towards the end. So 20 minutes we are taking out from 180 minutes. So how much time remains? 160. Right? So in this 160 minutes, we have to attempt 9 answers. Now, if you look at level of difficulty or the time that may be consumed in section A and section B, so these 5 questions and these 4 questions. So it is double the length. In section B, you have 250 word length, and in section A, you have 500 A length, which means if we are giving say 10 minutes for each questions in this, which would be 50 minutes, and 20 for each, because double the size. So 80 minutes, which is equal to 130, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So ideally, 130 minutes is needed to attempt these 9 questions. So just keep in mind that, for each question in section B, you are approximately, I'm not saying exactly, approximately you are dedicating 10 to 15 minutes, right? And for answering questions in section A, you are dedicating around 20 to 25 minutes. That way, you would be able to attempt everything in 160 minutes and save first 10 minutes for reading the question paper and last 10 minutes for cross-checking whether you have whatever you have attempted is, as per the requirement in the question paper. Okay. Isn't it more wise when you calculate everything in terms of time?
Yes, sir.
Because you're not being tested only for what you know, but also tested to express what you know in given time. So we also have to pay attention to time aspect. Okay. So in section B, we are dedicating approximately 10 minutes, right? 2 to 5 minutes here and there would do, not a problem. 10 to 15 minutes could be, a range. Just keep it in mind so that, you don't spend 30 minutes on a 6 marks question. That wouldn't be wise, right? If you lose time here in this particular question, if you spend 30 minutes in a question where you are supposed to spend 10 to 15 minutes, which means you're losing time in which you could have attempted another question. Right. And the reason I told you about length also is because, some people who know about one topic so much so that, they write 5 pages. Eventually, the maximum marks is 6. Out of that, they may get 4 or 5, right? Or 4.5 or 5. But in 6 pages, they could have written at least three more, answers, right? Which would be 4 into 3, 12 marks. And in terms of time also, they would be losing somewhere around, 30 to 40 minutes extra. So they are not only losing time, they are also losing marks by writing more than what is required. So you have to remember that, for a question in section A, the time limit is 20 to 25 minutes. And your page length is, 2 to 3 maximum. Okay. And in section B, you have page length as 1 to 1.5 pages, and time limit is 10 to 15 minutes. Now this thing you can apply in all of your papers, because all question papers in your MA is of 70 marks. So that is why the structure of the paper remains same, right? I hope it is same in all question papers.
Yes.
Right? So all 70 marks question paper in your MA as of now has the same structure of the question paper. There would be 2 sections, section A and section B, and section A would be of 10 marks each for each question, and you have to attempt only best of 4 or easiest among the given 4 out of 8 questions. And the section B would have 10 questions. Out of that, you have to only attempt 5, which you are comfortable with. Okay. So keep this in mind, that page length and time factor matters as much as your knowledge, right, in the examination. Same thing you can follow in your competitive exams also. If you happen to attempt set examination, net examination, or any other examination for that matter, all competitive exams usually give 1 minute per question, right? Which means if you are spending any time more than 1 minute, right? If you are spending more than 1 minute for any question, which means you are losing time for attempting another question. So that you have to keep in mind, because exam is not only about knowledge, it's also about chasing the time. I hope you understood these, and I hope you liked the basics that I discussed with you, which is applicable to this paper and all other papers in your MA program. And these strategies could also help you in other examinations outside this program, maybe competitive exam or any other board exam that you university level exam that you attempt outside this program. Now I would invite questions from you. If you have any questions related to your examination or anything related to this, I would be happy to answer.
I have a small question. The same thing will apply for our assignment also. Section A, so almost 500 words, and section B, 250 words. Is it true for the assignment?
Could you be a little loud, Raksha?
Yes, sir. Sir, I just want to know whether we can write the same pattern for our assignments also.
Yes. Because you will have some luxury when it comes to time in writing the assignments. So you can stretch a little more. But what I suggest is, this is what is the standard, method of attempting whether external examination or your assignments.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. We have 10 more minutes to utilize. I urge you to clarify your doubts and make use of this 10 minutes before we close the class. If needed, I'll share this question paper and the previous questions paper that I have with you. So if anybody is, if anybody has my contact number, you please text me hi, hello on my WhatsApp. I'll share these question papers with you so that you can make a guess, what kind of topics are being repeated in examinations, and it would also help you to prepare. The fact that I have already given you most of the important questions, still if you want to have a look at the way questions are framed, right, and just to benefit from the previous question papers, I can definitely share those things with you. Somebody asked me about examination dates. As of now, I don't have any information regarding that. Perhaps if I go to the university on Monday or Tuesday, I would get some information about it and I'll share with you.
Yes, sir. Please do, sir. Please.
Yeah, sure, definitely will do.
Thank you, sir. And
do you have my contact number?
Yes, sir. I have your contact number. On the first class we have taken offline classes. I have taken, sir. I have your number.
You please text me. On my WhatsApp, I'll share the previous question papers. Okay, yes, and so that you all can benefit from those question papers.
Yes, sir. Yes. And regarding assignments, sir, I have paper in front of me. Write a short note on rhetoric and speech function. That is one. And comment briefly on poetic function, Jacobson's speech event, factors and functions.
Okay.
Then section B, sir, structuralism and language, post-structuralism and language. And write a note on the chief components of the narrative. So I have chosen narrative, sir, chief components of narrative, because I feel I'm comfortable with that.
Yes.
But of course, I have to read all the questions. And in the section A, I think I'll be taking up rhetoric and speech functions, sir. And in assignment 2, write a note on form and technique in a short story and a novel, and trace the sources of Indian literature tradition.
Okay.
And write a note on Dhwani school, Rasa school, briefly comment upon kinesics and culture, dactylogy, the language of silence. So I have chosen short story and a novel, form and technique.
Okay,
short story and a novel. And of course, Dhwani school and Rasa school also, we are aware of it because you explained to us in one of your online classes.
Yes.
But I would like to take up kinesics and culture because I'm not aware of this chapter.
The choice is yours. You can go with anything.
Yes.
But I have learned through one of the teachings of Prophet Muhammad that, Prophet, peace be upon him, said that, if I'm given two choices, right? If I'm given two choices, I would always go with the easiest one. That is what the Prophet has taught. So ideally, I do that, and I tell people that, life itself is, so complex, so difficult, right? And so challenging. So it is good to go with the easiest things to keep the life as simple and as easy as possible. We have so many other problems in life. So when we have option to go for a easy one, then why not go for easy one?
Yes, sir.
What do you say?
Follow. Yes, sir. We'll follow that. Surely.
Because anyway, say for example, in case of this question paper, it doesn't matter whether I attempt a very difficult philosopher Derrida's, theory about language and other things, right? Or I just go for a literary features of a language or primary features of the language. So it doesn't make any difference as an answer in the question paper, whether you attempt Derrida's question or just basic questions like primary features of literary language. If that is what it is, then why not go with the primary features of literary language? Why to put our head cracking the complex ideas of Derrida? Why to stress ourselves? That's what my intention is.
I understood, sir.
Yeah. One important thing I forgot, I think it missed my and it slipped my mind, is that when you are writing any answer, if it is essay type, all these questions are essay type, right? These are not objective type questions. In any essay type questions, there are three things that you have to take care of in your answer. Number one, introduction. Introduction. Second, arguments. Third, conclusion. This is the basic structure of an essay, right? Essay usually has an introduction, then the body part or your arguments, whatever you called it, that to build, and then there is a conclusion. These three, structurally in your answer, these three should be there. So how you can do that, right? So, for example, if you have a question like, primary features of literary language, right? Now you are attempting an answer to this. For anything, you are following this three formula, right? Introduction, arguments or base, then you have conclusion. So in the first paragraph, you start with making a statement right? Whether accepting or denying this statement. What are the primary features of literary language? Then you can start in the very first sentence saying that, language, like any other thing, carries certain features. Literary language do have features that distinguish it from normal language or scientific language. Right? And in this answer, an attempt is made to list out primary features of literary language and discuss them with brevity. That's it. This is the introduction. Then you go and talk about, features. 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, how many features, whatever you remember, you just talk about that. The first feature could be, a literary language is connotative in nature, right? Which means there are possibility of more than one meaning at word and sentence level, or I don't know, paragraph level. It is contrary to scientific language, which is denotative.
Yeah.
First point, over. Second point, over. Because you are comparing it with scientific language also. And then third point could be about, this literary language is also not same as normal language. Then you define what normal language is and what are the features of it. And then go and talk about as much points as you can, keeping the length and keeping the time in mind. And then eventually you conclude saying that a literary language is indeed different from scientific and normal language based on features like X, Y, Z, over. It's like, whatever points you have discussed here, you just list out, some key words from this and conclude. If you attempt every answer in this way, you are sure to gain maximum marks that is, there for each question. In case in this particular question, you have 10 marks, and if you attempt the way I have told you, so you would be getting even 8 for your answer. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
That would take you more than 70% of marks in your examination, which is distinction. So that is the last thing I forgot to mention, and I mentioned it. So go point wise, right? Don't narrate stories. Go point wise. Keep as each point as a different paragraph, just to help the examiner identify how organized you are and how much hard work that you have done in understanding different arguments, different points, and presenting it in that way. Okay. So thank you so much. And before we depart for the last time in this counseling classes, I wish you good luck for your exam preparation. And I hope you do good when it comes to assignment also. Even though the classes are officially over with this class, I would be available to help you with your queries related to examination, related to your paper on WhatsApp. I usually entertain queries on WhatsApp. I usually don't pick the calls because of variety of engagements. So you are free to text me, and I would respond whenever I get time. Thank you so much. And those who don't have my number, you please share among them so that
Thank you, sir.
They can share.
So shall I repeat your number? 9948.
No, don't do on a class.
Sorry.
don't do in a class which is live stream, which is recorded. You have my number.
Sorry,
You just
sir,
text me.
I didn't know that.
It's being live telecast, so it's not good to have my number online. Okay. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.